Otherwise, average loan sizes, yeah, it's relentless, and that's obviously related to the price of housing. First home buyers, not doing it so well. They're finding it tougher. Surprise, surprise. I don't think there's anything there. We've already worked out that first home buyers, renters are finding it tough. It is what it is.
So I might just interject there, and Stephen, I'm particularly interested in your views. Mortgage stress in terms of where that's at, and then Nick, in terms of your perspective, whether or not there's any correlation with unemployment and those two factors, either separately or combined, as that will affect things moving forward.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think there is some mortgage stress there, right, Sasha? And I think we'll only continue to basically see that more and more. Like, typically speaking, when I structure a loan, right, and say it's a first home buyer as an example, or say they're buying a property for 800,000, right? I generally try to work towards rule of thumb, and it's just one of my kind of fundamentals that work for my father-in-law. The value of the property that you basically hold, ideally you keep 5% basically cash in the bank, right? And so usually I'll if they're buying for 800,000, I'll try to keep them with 20, 30, 40,000 to stay as close to that basically that figure as possible. And that's where like the first home deposit scheme is really good, allows them to put in the extra, allow them to put in the 5% deposit, and then they can fundamentally keep the remainder of funds if they have them in the offset account, right? Few of the first home buyers that are when I'm doing my check-in calls, or ones that have basically reached out to me, I basically ask them, how much you got in the offset account. And let's say initially when I wrote the loan 14 months ago, they had $30,000. Now they've only got $12,000. Well, that obviously indicates, one, they're not saving any money, but they've used basically their save on top of that, they've used their savings and they've gone basically backwards, right? And if they that same pattern trajectory basically continues, they're going to find themselves in real trouble, right? So I'm seeing that be pretty prevalent. I'll say, particularly on the first home buyer, Sasha. Yeah. I don't know how that relates to unemployment and stuff, and you can probably more speak to that because good with those numbers.
Yeah, I think this chart's a good chart to just ram home that it's the first home buyers actually finding it tough. The lift in lending is coming from a more affluent borrower, and that's just again what these charts are telling us. As far as unemployment at the moment is actually pretty low, and the RBA is looking for it to actually lift. It's not nice to sort of budget for and want more people to be out of work, but the RBA is looking for our employment numbers to actually start falling, or unemployment to rise. It's one of the indicators they're watching, and at the moment it's not really happening. The latest set of numbers actually that came out this week surprised everybody on the upside. Again, it's this very resilient economy. We're on a slightly different path, or perhaps a very different path from what's happening elsewhere in the world. The RBA will win.
And Nick, just staying with you, I know that we've had various conversations about him being relentless and your view about it becoming the sleeping killer of the mortgage game. So I just wanted to touch on that for a minute.
Yeah, so and this is why the RBA does win, because you'll just get more and more people who will get caught in the fact that I just don't have as much money to spend on whether it's takeaway food or Nick Scali furniture. I just have to pull my horns in. It does, as this goes back to the RBA, does win. So HEM is relentless, as you mentioned, Sasha. So because of inflation, and inflation is high, it's too high, HEM every month goes up. So somebody who could service a mortgage with interest rates at that level a year ago, interest rates same level today, can't. Again, none of this will come as any surprise to the mortgage brokers listening in, but it's just another reason why the RBA always wins.